Okay, let's do it, you guys. You ready to learn everything about marriage licenses? This is just an overview of everything we're going to cover. You're going to learn what a marriage license is. That might sound funny, but after we marry people, they get confused about the piece of paper that got turned in. All right. So we're going to distinguish a marriage license from an actual marriage certificate. How, where, and when you need to get one, what happens at the wedding, what we're going to do with that document, and what happens after the wedding, and then all about the marriage certificate and how you can obtain that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Any questions? Write them down,
Yeah.
put them in the chat.
Yeah, chat.
We
as we
want
talk.
to, where's my thing here? Let me go back.
Yeah.
I'm trying to admit that person.
I know, I can't. Where's our little pointer? Sorry, you guys. How do we, why is it not showing up? I don't know why it's not showing
I
up.
don't know.
All right. We might need to
There's a
get
guy
out
on
here
an
for a second.
iPhone.
Let's let, who's trying to come in? Who was on here? Someone's
It
trying to
said
come in.
iPhone.
Did it let them in or no?
I think so.
Okay,
Okay,
let's
go
get back to the show. All right, here we go. Thank you guys. Here we go.
Okay. There he is again. I can't get him in there. Okay, so just a little disclaimer, you guys. Everything that we're going to talk about applies to California only. The states vary widely, and they kind of make up their own rules about how to obtain a marriage license. To make it even more complicated, and this is why people get a little confused, is that the counties can change the rules and change a lot of things. Usually they only do it once a year, so we try to keep up to date with that. It's pretty standard, everything we're going to share with you. So we sign only and file only California marriage licenses, okay? So if you're coming from another state, as long as you're planning on getting one in the state of California, we can take care of it for you. If you have a unique situation, you're in another state, we can go over those options with you individually. But this all applies only to California. Okay, so what is a marriage license? It is a legal document. It authorizes you to marry. Okay, a lot of people get this confused with, look, I got a marriage license. We're basically married as soon as you sign it, and that's not the case. So think of it kind of as starting the process. They're going to, at the county clerk's recorders, we're going to talk about that in a minute, they're going to make sure that you are eligible to marry. Okay, so anyone who's been divorced, they're going to make sure that that paperwork has been filed and is complete within 90 days. So you have to have been divorced for 90 days in order to get, they're checking things like that, making you sure you don't have any outstanding warrants, things like that, that you are who you say you are. Okay, the marriage license and the marriage certificate are not the same. So just have that differentiation that there are actually two legal documents that we're going to be dealing with here. And the first one before the wedding is going to be the marriage license. That's what you guys need to go get, and that's what we're talking about. So it's an authorization to marry. You're going to get permission basically from the state of California. Afterwards, the marriage certificate is the legal proof that you are married. Okay, and I have some documents to show you of what they look like. It looks like a birth certificate, but that's what you end up with. And that is how you're going to prove to everyone who asks, okay, for a new passport and a new driver's license and healthcare changes and all that. They're all going to ask for the final document, the marriage certificate. Okay, but first we got to get the marriage license to do that. So another confusing thing can be that there are two types of marriage licenses. Okay, there's a public and a confidential one. Most are going to choose the public one, but there are some circumstances where people would rather just keep their stuff private. Okay, we file a ton of public marriage licenses.
The majority, yeah.
Majority, but every once in a while we've got some celebrities, some pro athletes and stuff, and then some people in fields where they don't want to be known. So they can get a confidential. You can get a confidential if you prefer. Eloping couples as well may choose to get a confidential license because there's no witness signatures required.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a big one.
Yeah.
All right, but when you get to the county clerk's recorders, we're going to get to that. You guys will have to designate which one you want.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's slightly different fees associated with those.
And I think you said it just real quick, confidential. There's some couples who are eloping that they feel like a confidential is a great fit. Just keep in mind, it doesn't have to be that way though, because if you have the officiant and you have like a photographer, they could be the other witness. So there's really simple ways if you want a public license, depending on the price and stuff. Just know, just because you're getting an elopement and don't have a ton of witnesses doesn't mean you have to get confidential. You
Yeah.
can kind of pick and choose.
Yeah, don't let that deter you
Yeah.
if you're eloping, okay? Yeah, you can get a witness signature.
Yeah.
Okay, so when can you get a marriage license? And this is the number I want you to have in your head, because some of you are there already and you're going to realize it right now.
Yep.
Or it's coming up and I want you to have that for my October people later on, okay? In the year, you need to be within a 90-day window. And they'll probably turn you away as you're applying online if you're too far out for your wedding date, okay? But just know you can't do anything right now if you're further than 90 days.
Yep.
If you're within a 90-day window, your wedding date, then you can go now, okay? You can make the appointment. So we're going to show you
Yeah.
what to do once you get there.
That basically means April 22nd-ish. That's the cutoff. So if you're getting married before April 22nd, you can go get your marriage license literally
Yes.
today.
Yes, and then after we need to,
Yep.
we're getting there.
Yep.
We want you to know that ahead of time,
Yep.
okay? And again, that applies to all of the counties within California. So where do you go to get this document, okay?
Yeah.
It's going to be the county clerk's recorder's office. We're going to post the links to the most popular. I've listed them here, but you can go anywhere. So we have
Yeah.
people from up north, okay, and in different counties that are not listed here. But most of you, if you're in Southern California, you're coming from Riverside, Orange, San Diego, LA, or Ventura. There's some Central Coast like Santa Barbara, then and further up.
Yeah.
What is it, San Luis Obispo?
Yeah.
So any of those are options for you. Go to the one that is most convenient.
Yeah.
Okay. And the reason is you both have to go together. So, and you got to go on a weekday when they're open.
Yeah. It's normally, I think it's Monday through Friday, 9 to 4:30.
Mhm.
I think pretty sure that's
For,
the timing.
for most of them. And they observe all the holidays.
Yep.
Okay. So that's another thing.
Yep.
So we don't want you to wait. You have 90 days before. Plan ahead and look at the list of where they actually give marriage licenses. Yeah. Can you let that person in?
Yeah. Yeah. And as
Mhm.
just as a side note, each one of these counties, there are different prices. There's different benefits to different ones. So just keep that in mind as you look through and decide which one is best for you. Because there's different prices, there's different locations. Back when we got married, they had the rule that you had to get your marriage license in the county of your marriage. So if you lived way up in Northern California and you were getting married in San Diego, you'd have to do the whole process down there. That's not the case anymore. Now it's literally as long as it's in the state, you can get it anywhere you want. So take advantage of that, figure out which one's affordable. There's different prices, which one's easier location. It's up to you.
Yes, yes. We'll mention now, and this is why, that we're partial to the one by our house.
Yeah.
In Laguna Hills, if you pass through Orange County, even if you don't live in Orange County, there are some perks to coming on over here. You have a choice, okay? And one of the reasons is they're the cheapest that we've found. So there is a fee associated when you go and get your marriage license.
Yeah.
Right now, it's $61 for a public license, but we have seen as much as $140 in LA and San Diego. Riverside's a little over 100 now.
110,
They change it every year.
Yeah.
So it's a little hard to get. I'm still seeing receipts as we do weddings, but they change it every year, you guys. So that can get a little confusing too. And what they require you to do ahead of time before you come in varies as well. So just know in the back of your mind, if you're passing through Orange County, you don't mind coming down here, they're cheaper, okay? And they file them quicker after the fact when we turn them in. And then also they don't require an appointment. And for some people, that's a little bit of a deal breaker, okay? And when I just checked a couple days ago, San Diego County is requiring 7 weeks ahead of time.
Yeah.
And that's fine if you're gonna do it as soon as you get into your 90-day window. But for some who are getting married in a couple weeks and just thought to do it or the last month, they might not get an appointment. So just know you have options,
Yeah.
okay? And that you can go into another county for more availability. And for this one, you can just walk in. You can still apply online and make an appointment though. So
Yeah.
all the ones that I checked, they all require you to put some information online first, okay? If you show up, they're gonna make you put the information in the computer first. So just tell them ahead of time in the county that you're planning on going to that you want to, do this online. So put your information online, make an appointment if necessary. So in all the other counties, you're going to have to make an appointment. And then the big thing here is that you have to go together.
Yeah.
And this is only this one time. And
Yeah.
the reason is they are verifying your eligibility that you are who you say you are.
They literally are going to be like, please raise your right hand and swear this is true. Like they take it very serious.
Are you Allison? Okay.
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and you're going to sign the license in the presence of the clerk
Yes.
at the time that you pay your fee. So in order to verify you are who you say you are, they want a valid ID. Okay, so that's usually passport, driver's license. The whole
Yeah.
list of IDs are on there that are acceptable, but
Yeah.
those are the two main ones.
And it's just those ones. I've seen some couples, they bring like birth certificates, they bring like all their file of documents. If you want to
Yeah.
do it, go for it, but you only need your valid driver's license.
We have couples coming from other countries,
Yes.
to do the same thing. So they
Yes.
usually bring their passport.
That's good.
They're going to give you the marriage license on the spot.
Yeah.
Okay. So the great thing is you're in, you're out,
Boom.
you signed it, they signed it, and it's your permission to go get married. Okay. So long as it's within that 90-day window.
Yeah.
So if your wedding date were to change, you might end up outside that 90-day window. Okay. It also has to be filed back within 10 days after we do the wedding.
Yes.
So you'll see that is one big reason why we offer to file it back for you.
Yeah.
Because you're
Especially
usually on
in-
honeymoon.
Yep.
Or you're just tired and you don't want to do
Yeah.
it.
Which is fine. Totally.
It can get lost in the bridal suite. Okay. There was one wedding where we were searching for an hour in the bridal suite trying to find the marriage license afterwards. So a lot of you feel comfortable just saying, will you please just take it so that I can just party? Okay.
And we got you. Just
We
let us
got
know
you.
when we got you.
So when they give it to you, keep the marriage license safe. Please don't bend it. They might reject it. Keep it safe, keep it clean, keep it in the folder that they give it to you in. And then when we see you, bring it to the wedding, and we're gonna ask for that when we get there that hour before.
Cool.
Okay, so this is the meat of it all.
Yeah.
So here's here's some questions that we get the most. So
Yeah.
what happens at the wedding? You're gonna bring the license. You can give it to your wedding planner.
Yeah.
You can give it to your maid of honor, someone who knows, who can be trusted with it. Okay.
Yeah.
If it is a public one, you want to designate ahead of time, who would I like to sign this?
Yeah.
Now, because we're going to have a witnesses sign that day. So for public ones, you can have up to 2 witnesses, but you legally only need 1. Okay. So maid of honor, best man, parents, it doesn't matter. It is totally your preference. And a lot of times some will just say 1. Choose one that has good handwriting.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've had all kinds of things. We've had some that have been a little tipsy, and that gets a little challenging when they're like kind of trying to stroll the right. The one that we get all the time that is so sweet is the sentiment of like, I really want grandma to sign it, and she's 95. And it's like, that's so sweet, but like she's like shaking. She's like struggling to get this done. And again, it's up to the county recorder, but most of the time, if it's not readable, or if there's some additional marks and stuff, like they're not going to accept it. So keep
They
in
send
mind.
it back to us.
Yeah.
And then they charge you.
Yeah.
Well, we've seen $35 to up to $60.
$85 for an LA one. Yeah.
Oh, for a duplicate license because someone signed the, outside the witness box,
Yeah.
or they can't read it. They
Yeah.
can't read the address line.
Yeah.
So wait till we get there. We like to walk. There's just 3 boxes for each witness, but
Easy.
we like to walk them through, make sure their hands are clean.
Yeah.
So they don't mess it up.
Holding their like wet beer, and then they get like watermarks all
I had
over
one
it,
that
and-
smeared it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So we try to get the license signed by the witnesses before. They're usually kind of hanging around when you're doing your first look or taking
Yeah.
pictures, and there's less food around. and then we can just put it away and keep it safe and
Yes.
we're done.
Yes.
Okay, so sometimes that's not always the case and they're not available, but we're there the hour before, so we try to get it signed. And so you just need to tell us who you want, and you can just tell us the day of who you would
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
to sign. Confidential, no witnesses needed, so we don't have to deal with that. It's just a hand, you just give us the license and we'll take it. And then legally, the officiants cannot sign, nothing's official until after we perform the ceremony. Okay, so that's when we will complete, you'll see in the very bottom, there's quite a bit of boxes that we fill out, and we tell them, this is the date I married them, this is the county I married them, the city, and then all of our credentials.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's exciting though. I know it's
Yeah.
it's a signature, but they say the moment we sign and date it, that's officially you are legally
That's when
married.
it's
So
legal.
it's a cool moment to be like, cool, like that it is what we got it. It's amazing.
Yeah, and our job is to get it back to them within 10 days.
Yes.
So, and there are situations where couples are in a bind or they want their dad to take it, right away. They're trying to change their passports and healthcare stuff. So,
Yep.
you can totally have someone you trust file it back, but like 95% of the time we end up filing it, and that's part of the job.
Yep. All right, what happens after the wedding then? So you got your license pre-wedding, we had the wedding day celebration, everything was signed properly, and the officiant, myself and Valerie, we will take the license home with us if you request it. Most of our couples do. Every once in a while, there's couples that say, nah, we've got a chill schedule, we'll do it ourselves. That's fine as well. But we will take it for you if you'd like. And again, probably 95% of the time, couples ask us to, just because they can have us do that. If it's in Orange County, we're going to deliver it in person. So that means next business day, within the next 1 to 2 business days. Today I filed someone's license. We're going to go in person in Orange County and deliver it by hand. On the spot, they will file it. They're going to stamp it and say this was received. It's still going to take them about 7 to 10 business days to process your license in Orange County. But on the spot, they're going to say, we're giving you approval. It was accepted. You're good to go. What we do for our couples is I'm going to send you a text message photo of that license with the filed stamp and say it's official. They accepted it. You guys are good to go. So it's turned in. The license part of it is completely done as far as that's concerned. All other counties, we're going to do certified mail the next 1 to 2 business days. So post office, we protect it. It's got a tracking number. We send you a picture of the license and the tracking number in case, worst case scenario, it gets lost somewhere in the mail. Still to this day, that's never happened. So it's not an issue. But just know if it's San Diego, like don't really have time to drive it down physically in person. So just keep that in mind with different counties and stuff as well. Either way, like I said, we're going to send you a picture of the license filled out. We're going to send you either the tracking number or proof that it was filed properly. And then here's the one that we get the most. Okay, so I tell you, hey, it's filed. Congratulations. You say the ceremony was incredible. I want to give you reviews. And I'm like, bring it on. Life's amazing. And then 3 months go by, and all the time, it happened again this month. A couple wrote back and was like, hey, Ryan, why haven't they sent me my certificate yet? And what I need you to understand is the certificate is an additional document, like Valerie said, but you have to pay for it. It's the government. They want their money. I'm sorry. It just is what it is. So I believe across the board, the certificate is $17, no matter what county, 17 or 19. So that one is the same consistently. It's going to be literally the license on nice paper, like a birth certificate, but that is your proof of marriage that you need to go and change your name. So you have to get that document first before you can go to Social Security and DMV, all that good stuff. Again, depending on your county, sometimes it can be 10 business days like Orange County. Sometimes it can be 8 weeks, I believe is last I heard from LA, just because they have so many papers to file. So you are legally married the day we sign it. Don't stress about that. But it can take up to 3 months for your marriage certificate to be available. So
sometimes, yeah.
Generally, they say it's
Yeah.
going to be in Orange County around 2 weeks, but other counties depends on. You'd have to find out.
Yeah.
You have to pay for it. So either what you would do is just go back in. That's the good news, as Valerie said. For the license part, before your wedding, you both have to be present. After the wedding, for your certificate, only one of you has to go in. So if you're going to go in physically and purchase it, You can do that nice and easy. You can also, in many of these counties, order it online and have it shipped to your house. So
Mhm.
think those thoughts, either order it online or go back in person. But just remember, it's not automatic. So if you forget and need to text us, it's all good. But just know a lot of couples forget and think it's going to be an automatic send to them, and it's not. You actually have to ask for it and purchase it.
Yeah. And we get it, because the confusing thing is that some counties, when you go in to get your marriage license, they'll say, "Would you like us to mail it to you?" San Diego does this. And so they put a form in your packet that actually needs to be notarized or signed by the clerk that day. And then you have to put the payment in there too.
Yeah.
And they said, "Yeah, we'll mail it to you." So it was part of the conversation when you were in there. But if you didn't pay and they didn't sign it, and then they're not going to send you anything.
Yeah.
So and then they're, to make it more complicated, some people will hear, "Well, I had a friend who got married in San Diego and she got it mailed to her, but she did do those extra steps." And then other counties don't allow it. Like
Yeah.
Orange County won't let you do it ahead of time. You have to initiate the request after it's actually been filed.
Yeah.
So that is super confusing. I wish we could all get on the same page about
I know.
that.
Each county
As
is
a
different.
state, maybe one day.
Yeah.
But each county has slightly different rules about how to obtain the marriage certificate, hence all the confusion. Okay, so just know that the certificate is something completely different, and that we do need to ask for that and then pay for it too. And a lot of couples have asked me, "How many copies should I get?" And I say at least 2, okay, for travel purposes. A lot of you travel for traveling out of the country. It's nice to have one with you, but then that one can get really beat up. And it's nice to have someone back in the States who also has proof that you're married if they need that.
Yeah.
So I like to recommend 2. I've seen some that were leaving the country and they just didn't want to come back to the county and they got 5. Okay. We've had one and it's been fine, but
For years.
you
Yeah.
can always go back and get more copies, but you need at least one.
Yes. So that's
Okay.
the certificate. And again, like we said, when you go in to get your license, you can have it in the back of your mind, add it to your notes to be like, hey, ask the clerk as you're talking, what can we do to prepare for our marriage certificate? Will you let us order it in advance?
Can I have it mailed to me?
Yes.
Okay, can I pay you now for it?
Yeah.
Okay, did you sign the paper? And then I will file everything back with that paperwork, and then
Yeah.
it will come in the mail, but only if you're in certain counties that allow that. If that
Perfect.
makes sense, okay?
If all else fails, just send us a text message and we'll remind you the process, and it's
We're
all
gonna
good.
remind you after
We
you
got
get
you.
married too.
We
But
got
just
you.
a heads up, so you're not like, well, usually around tax season is when I hear from the couples the most.
Yes.
They're gonna file in the next couple months
Yeah.
and they're gonna say, "I never got my marriage certificate. What happened?"
Yeah.
And we'll have this same conversation. So now
Yeah.
you know.
It's all good.
Did you see that gray? It was a gray folder. Let's see if you can find it. There was a gray folder up here.
Okay.
I had pictures. There's lots of personal information, so I couldn't post a picture of what the marriage license looks like and the certificate. But think of a birth certificate, and a marriage license looks it's just a piece of paper, okay? Blank white sheet with a bunch of boxes in it.
Yeah.
So unless you have that one that looks like on this official, pretty multicolored paper, that's not the marriage certificate.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, congrats. We made it through. And I hope that made it a little easier. There's a lot of information.
Yes.
You're now ready to go make it legal.
Yes.
But we want to open it up for questions now that we threw all the information out, and we are going to do our Starbucks giveaway too in the next 15 minutes when we're done here.
Good.
But you guys, let's let you fire away, okay? Raise your hand if you want to ask it verbally.
I see a couple.
Otherwise,
Can we do the chats first and then raise your hand?
Yeah.
I'll get you in order.
here
So
we go.
I think Geraldine is
If you're
first.
booking an appointment 7 weeks in advance, can you make appointment prior to 90-day window opening as long as opening falls? Yes.
Yes. Yes, you
Yes. So it's 90 day, you need to appear and what's printed, okay? Yeah. So, yeah, and it makes sense, right? San Diego is so large. I mean, Riverside's large too.
can. They're all large.
LA's huge. Yeah, so they've got so many things that they're processing. That's one reason Orange County is smaller, that they're able to process quicker and they don't necessarily need appointments. So, Yes, good
Keep
question.
that in
Good
mind.
question.
Awesome, Mariah. So that was
We
so
can go get the
helpful.
license
Good. Glad that was
anytime.
helpful. Okay, this is Derek.
We can go get, yeah. We can go get the license anytime. Can we only do it within, you can only do it 90 days prior.
Yes.
Okay. So what would you say, April?
Yeah, if your wedding is somewhere around April 22nd, 25th to now in that window. Now
Yeah.
like Geraldine said though, you can make your appointment now if you
Yeah.
really want to have that. You could be 6 months away and make your appointment or something, but
Yeah.
the actual license has to be picked up in that 90-day window.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was what I saw on the website when I visited San Diego. And it's not always like that. I have heard for the last 2 years that San Diego's been kind of backed up. LA can get that way too. So check the county that you're interested in using, because not all of them are that bad. Some are like 3 weeks out.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Nicole, you've had your hand up, so let's if you can unmute and then ask your
Let's
question,
see
Nicole
here.
Gartland, that'd be awesome.
Hi. So I have a California ID. My fiance Nicole has a New Jersey ID. Does she need a California ID before to get a California marriage license?
No, good question.
Yeah,
No,
that's great.
just the driver's license.
Just a valid driver's
Uh-huh.
license. Okay, because we
Yeah,
were kind of
yeah.
worried about that. I'm like, she's like, I got to get it anyway to change my last name. And I'm like, we'll find out. So
Well, don't
That's
pay
great.
for another one, right? Because
Yeah.
if you're going to change your name, you'd be paying for another one
it-
afterward.
exactly. But we just want to make sure because the whole California marriage license. So yes.
Yeah, yeah. So your driver's licenses are fine, and that makes me think of one thing I want to mention about name changes, you guys. If people, either one of you, can change your last name, okay? You can also change your middle name. This is the time to do it because marriage is a qualifying event, okay? Instead of going to the courthouse and going before a judge to change your name, which will always be the case, okay? This is the one time you can change it with that fee included. And so it's the cheapest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not first name though, right?
Yeah, no, you cannot change
Yeah.
your first name. But if you want to hyphenate and keep your maiden name and change the middle name slightly, so long as there's a root word, all the details are listed there of how to, what you can do. So it
Yeah.
can't be like Armstrong and you were a Smith, okay? You got to go to
It's a different process.
That's a different process. But you can take each other's names, and if you're on the fence about whether or not you should do that, do it if you want to become Mrs. So-and-so. Okay. I have some couples that are in the middle of getting their degrees, they don't want their degree to say a different last name from their maiden. So the school institution or whatever the situation is, that's separate from what we're telling the the legal documents. If you have the intent of becoming Mrs. So-and-so, this is your opportunity to do it for a much less cost and way less paperwork.
Yeah.
Okay. So be prepared, because the clerk is going to ask you after you show your ID and they issue the license. One of the things they're going to ask in the box is if you want to change your name, you'll look over the spelling, and then what is printed is final. Okay.
Perfect. And then Derek, I think you're following up what you said
27, can I
before.
go earlier to the license before? You cannot go earlier.
You can't show up to an appointment or walk in to do it.
You make the
You can
appointment.
make your appointment, but you literally can't meet with them until you're within that window.
Yeah.
They'll tell you, sorry, come back another time.
They'll notice, yeah, and I can't even, let's say they messed up and they actually gave you a license because they weren't clear on the day you were planning on getting married. If I turn in a license after the fact and the date it was printed is outside of a 90-day window, it'll be void.
Yeah.
And we would have to do it again, and then you would have a later date, not your real wedding day.
These are so good. Joe, we see you.
Okay.
We don't live in California and are wondering if getting the license the week of the wedding is cutting it too close if we make an appointment online ahead of time. Absolutely not. And now again, depending on
Which county?
which county you're going
Yeah,
through,
it should
still, as long as you have the appointment, it should be a pretty quick in and out.
Yeah.
But yes, I would just say make sure you have time, because I know the week of the wedding things can fill up really quick and get busy. So just give yourself some space and some time. The other option is for couples sometimes that are out of state, if they're doing like a final walkthrough and happen to be visiting within the 90-day window, that can also be a great time to grab the license before you head back home if you're doing a tasting or anything. So, but yeah, as long as you've got the time and the energy for it, the week of is fine. You could literally get the license the day before your wedding, and you're good to go. So just keep that in mind. Let's see, what did Andrew?
There's a direct message, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Skip over that one.
Good.
Andrew and Stephanie will write you back about that one.
Cool.
But yes, the answer is yes.
Yes. And then can I add one thing real quick? And then I think unless anyone else has questions, this has been so good, you guys. One thing we tell couples all the time too is to think about if you're going on a honeymoon that's like international and you need like your passport and documents, and they've got, say, especially for ladies, if you're going to change your name, but you've got your maiden name, it can be a little bit confusing if like you try to go through the process of changing names on documents and you've got one document that has an old last name, one with a new one. We always say you are legally married. There's no laws or rules that say you have to rush the process. We would say wait to do the name change on Social Security and all that until you get back from vacation. So like keep your maiden name through your honeymoon, through your vacation, deal with all that once you come back, just so it's not like this says one thing, this is another, and we're confused.
If you're on honeymoon right after the wedding.
Yeah.
Right, because they know that it takes forever to get another passport.
Yeah.
And it takes forever,
Yep.
even to just go through the DMV. And you have to do it in a specific order. We always start with Social Security first, which we will go over at a later date. When you're changing your documents, we can talk about that. But if you're gonna have a name change, we have couples who stress, I'm going to France, the month after. Nobody expects you to have the
No.
new stuff. What we can have is a copy, though. We'll have a picture of it, and they give you a printed copy to keep, and you can travel with that proves that you got married on this date.
Yeah. If
Okay.
you need that.
Yeah, like I would say, hey, it's all completed. We signed it and everything, so it's completed and it is filed, but you didn't have time, However, I married someone in August, and she said, I'm not going to Africa until January. She's there right now.
Yeah.
So we wanted to rush her paperwork because there was enough time to get it done if we filed the license right away.
Yeah.
So she got her new passport in time. There's enough time to get that done with that many months. So it just depends on the time period. But for most people, if you're going to go straight to your honeymoon within a month, nobody expects you to have a different passport. So just keep everything you have.
So good.
Okay.
All right. Anything
There's
else?
Another one that popped
Is there
up.
another one?
We're having a church ceremony
There we
the
go.
day before our wedding for family. Would I need to bring a marriage license for our official wedding day the next day? You tell the clerk which date you want. Do you want the day before to be printed
Yeah.
or the day after?
Let me add something though, because depending on your church, like there's been times I married a couple 2 months ago. They got married in the Catholic Church the day before.
We don't need to do two, right? We don't need to do
No,
wedding.
but the church required, they said, we have to be the ones to sign it. I'm not doing your wedding unless I'm the official signature. So for them on their legal document, it's the day before, even though for them it was like the 28th. It was like the day they wanted to celebrate, and that was the day I did their wedding ceremony celebration. On the legal document, it's always going to say the 27th because the day they did it at the church required it. So just find out from the church, like, are you requiring that we do the license? Most likely they will, but it's up to them.
Yeah.
And then again, when we see you, it's like we're still celebrating and we're still going to announce you as husband and wife and all the good stuff. It's just the legal document part might be signed by the church instead.
Yeah, and it really depends, because I had another couple who did the same exact thing, Catholic in the church 2 days before, and I was the one who signed it later on because they wanted the next day.
Yeah.
They're more modern
Yeah.
ceremony.
So it just depends on you. You can bring it to either one, but if you decide you're going to have the day before, then the day of your wedding, you don't need to bring it and be like, Ryan, Valerie, see, I really did get married. Like, we don't need to see that. We trust you. So don't stress. The less that document travels, the better, because we don't want it to get damaged. So if it's signed and done, leave it at home. We don't need to see it.
Yeah, and there's only space for one
Yeah.
clergy official on there to fill it out. So
Yeah. Yep. That's so good. Anything else? You guys have been amazing. I love it. Good. Okay.
right, sweet.
All right. Is it
These are good
time?
questions. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you feel. Does anybody still feel overwhelmed? Are you feeling like you grasp the idea? Okay,
Makes
good.
sense.
You guys are closest, so I'm glad.
Allison, yeah,
they're-
Allison and Kevin, you guys are
feeling good.
right around the corner, man.
Yeah. We will send the links for some of the popular surrounding counties.
Yeah.
They're all different links, but if you want to find it tonight, then you just really literally Google county clerk's recorder's office, marriage license, and then pop in your, whatever, your county, San Diego.
Yeah.
Riverside, okay? Wherever you're at, it will come up with the locations, and there's usually several within each county.
Yep.
We've got three at least in Orange County that you can go to. But you can pick the closest one to you, or the one that has the most convenient availability for appointments.
Perfect.